Hey everyone, I'm Edward,
I'm Friedel.
and we just went through a deductive process where we decided which timeline from the Halloween movie series we were going to watch next. We decided that we were going to watch the 2018 direct sequel to the original film.
I wanted to see Jamie Lee Curtis kick some butt.
Right. And so right now we're going to react to the trailer for the 2018 Halloween sequel. Ready?
Yes,
All
I
right.
am ready. I'm excited. I have the little that I know about this film is that it kind of turns her role as the final girl completely on its head a little bit.
Let's see, shall we?
Let's do it.
I've waited for him.
Testing 1, 2, 3. We're on.
We're here to investigate a patient that killed 3 innocent teenagers on a Halloween in 1978. He was shot by his own psychiatrist and taken into custody that night, and has spent the last 40 years in captivity. Hello, Michael. I have something you might like to see.
Hi.
I'm shocked they would let him do that.
Yeah.
Everyone in my family turns into a nutcase this time of year. Yeah, I mean, your grandmother is Laurie Strode.
She was almost murdered.
Wasn't it her brother who murdered all those babysitters?
No, it was not her brother. That's something that people made up.
Do you know that I pray every night that he would escape?
What the hell did you do that for?
So I can kill him.
Going badass Lori.
Yeah.
The bus crashed.
Mom, what bus crashed?
Michael escaped.
Excuse me, somebody's in here.
Hello?
Oh God. Oh, those are teeth. Ah!
He's waited for this night. He's waited for me. I've waited for him.
Get out of the room! Get inside!
You don't believe in the boogeyman?
He's here!
Michael! You should.
Can you close the closet door?
What do you think about that?
My immediate thought is it's such a weird when she's talking about I've waited for him, he's waited for me, blah blah blah, there's kind of this very, it's sorry, the first thing that came up in hearing it, and I was like, that is a very strange way of being committed to a person.
Right, it's been 40 years. We're committed to one of us dying at the hands of the other. We just gotta have that out.
Right. And maybe that's exactly what in some ways having an arch nemesis is about.
Yeah.
That
right.
that's the only in the trope of arch nemeses, we don't have a lot of examples of of a more complicated relationship with, except the one that is coming to mind between Magneto and the Professor. Like they have a very nuanced, complicated, layered relationship.
Yes.
And but we also know that that relationship originally was rooted in qualities of love and friendship that then they took separate paths based on alignment changes, right? And so perhaps that's outside of the trope that I'm talking about, but we're not good at seeing people like who have once been each other's enemies finding reconciliation and healing together. And so there's this idea of like, I am committed to want the resolution of one of us dying. I'm just like, it's a bizarre commitment to build your life around.
From Laurie's perspective, it's an inevitable fear, right? And so she's trained herself and has locked herself into this, you know, almost mental prison of like, this is eventually going to happen.
Right.
And she's turned the fear and anxiety of that around into whatever action she can take, which is to train herself to be badass Laurie, right? So
right.
To her, I think it feels inevitable. I don't know. They don't, you know, there's not enough personification of Michael to really guess at what he's thinking, but
yeah,
you know,
yes, he's
going to do what he does,
no
which
affect
is
because he's got a mask on. He doesn't say anything. Like,
yeah, right.
We have none of his backstory. We don't even have any causality behind why in the first movie he originally murders his sister.
I think what you can infer from the beginning of that movie is that his sister was supposed to watch him and she wasn't. She was spending time with her boyfriend and he was mad about that. Someone did make a good point. You know what? I don't know if it's a point that I liked, I'll say that, where, you know, they spoke to the idea that Carpenter and Deborah Hill weren't trying to necessarily, I mean, he said they're not trying to tell a story. I'll put the comment right here. They're not trying to tell a story. They're trying to sort of, you know, they're trying to scare you with a campfire like story, right? They've created this specter that stalks you in vulnerable places, essentially, is what I got from what he was saying. And it's funny because, you know, when I think of like a campfire story, I attribute that way more to Jason, probably because of his setting at an actual camp. But I can sort of see how that works, right? Like, especially with, you know, Laurie constantly referring to him as the boogeyman, like if that's really what they were going for, the sort of the legend of Michael Myers, this like legendary evil that comes for you when you're babysitting someone's kid, right? Like, and playing on that fear, I can sort of buy into that a little bit more. I don't think the setup is quite there in the original movie.
Yeah.
You know, I'm paying way too much attention to that kid's face when he's standing on the lawn holding the knife, and he looks surprised and affected by what he did.
Right.
Right. That's how I read his face in that scene.
Right.
He's not stoic at all. He doesn't look unaffected. He doesn't look like the stalking mass of a shape that he becomes later.
Right.
Right. It's absolutely, in that movie, it's off screen where he loses whatever he has left of his humanity.
The psychologist talks about him being the manifestation of pure evil.
I think what they did really well in this movie was they carry that forward a bit, where they carry that idea of the boogeyman forward a little bit, where it's like, he is just this unstoppable force of evil.
Okay.
And they play to it really well. And actually, this movie is so briskly paced. It starts turning up the anxiety and it kind of doesn't stop. And it's actually made the original much slower to me, because this movie plays like how I remember the original being, but the original is actually much slower, if that makes any
Right.
sense.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. I mean, the original has the daylight tension build up, right?
Yeah. There's some
Um,
daylight stuff in this, but I think most of it takes place at night. So we're going to watch that soon. Stay tuned to our channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. That helps us out. Helps us continue to do this. And we'll see you next time.
have a good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.